If you're just getting started on YouTube without much background in video or camera gear, it can be pretty overwhelming with so many options out there. So today I'm going to simplify it for you and show you what you actually need to get started. I've been making YouTube videos for over 3.5 years, and honestly the biggest barrier I've seen for people is actually sticking with the habit of making videos consistently. But if you can be consistent, you'll be ahead of like 95% of the other people out there. So the biggest key when it comes to what gear you need to get started is figuring out what's going to be easiest for you to get into the habit of creating consistently. Let me explain. So first of all, let's talk about the most obvious thing, which is cameras. When it comes to choosing one, there's just so many options out there, ranging from smartphones to DSLRs to mirrorless cameras to cinema cameras. But the question really to ask yourself is, what's going to be the easiest for me? So if you're familiar with filming on a mirrorless camera, for example, and that workflow is pretty straightforward for you, then that's the place you should start. But if you've never used a camera like that before and it's going to be really difficult for you to learn, then just start filming with your smartphone. Again, the idea is just prioritizing building the habit of filming videos, getting comfortable in front of the camera, and building from there. The image quality and production value of your videos will come with practice. And the reality is most smartphones and most cameras that you can buy today look pretty great. So you really can't go too wrong no matter what you get. Now when it comes to audio, again, ask yourself what's going to be the easiest for me to get started and get into a good consistent habit. Built-in microphones on a camera or a phone might not have the best audio quality, but the upside is that the workflow is super easy. It'll all just record to one file and then you can edit that single file. You won't have to worry about syncing audio between different recording devices. But a really simple way to upgrade your audio quality, which I recommend, is to buy a simple shotgun mic that you can just leave attached to the top of your camera, because this way you're really upping the audio quality of your recording, but you're not increasing the amount of work, because if it plugs into the side of your camera, it will still all just be recorded to the single file. You can also get really good wireless microphones for like $50 to $100 that can attach to both your smartphone and to your camera. And this is also a really great way to just get better, consistent quality audio than what you might get on just your phone or your camera microphone. If you do have a space like me that you can leave set up, then a podcasting microphone on a boom arm could be a good option. But again, just think about what's going to be easiest for you. Most podcasting mics, you have to record the audio separately, so that adds an extra step to your workflow. And if that's just going to demotivate you, then just stick with what's easiest for you. Now let's talk a bit about lighting. So my biggest recommendation when it comes to making lighting super easy is try and opt for stuff that you can leave set up. Because lighting is arguably the most bulky part of most YouTubers' setup. If you get something that you can just leave set up and you don't have to set it up or pack it down every time you film, then that's a huge win and will make your life so much easier. For the first 6 to 12 months of making YouTube videos, I would literally set up 2 lighting stands and hang a sheet from that so I could diffuse my lights. I'd set up a bounce card on one side, I'd block out the entire room with sheets, and it just took me ages to set up and it would always take me ages to pack down. And then when I finally invested in a proper light that I could just leave set up sitting on a C-stand, it literally cut out like an hour or more every time I wanted to film a video, which just reduced that friction between me and becoming a more consistent creator. Which is why if you can't afford it, I recommend getting either a ring light or a softbox that you can just leave set up all the time. I'll leave some recommendations for all this gear in the description. Just wanted to take a second to tell you about my brand new email newsletter called Create Better. And the whole idea of the newsletter is just that I want to share more of this type of content with you guys, things that I've learned over the past 3.5 years to help improve the production quality of my videos and therefore just add credibility to my overall personal brand. So if this is something that interests you, then use the link in the description to sign up. If you do, I'll send you my video LUT and my photo preset for free, so check it out below. So let's talk a bit about tripods, because you'll probably need a tripod to sit your camera on, especially if you're shooting talking head footage like I am right now. And again, the main thing to think about is ease of setup. So think about whether you're filming just in the one location, similar to me, I just have the same set pretty much every week, or if you're going to be filming in different locations all the time. So if you're going to be filming in the one location like me, then you don't need to spend that much money on a tripod. Just make sure it's decent enough quality and that it's stable. I recommend ball heads on top of tripods just because it's easier to get the camera level. Or if you are going to be moving around a lot and shooting content in different locations, then again, just think about what's going to be the most easy for you. And therefore it might be worth investing a bit more money into a good tripod that's easy and quick to set up and pack down. Now, obviously you'll need editing software to actually put your videos together. And again, think about your experience level and what you're most comfortable with. So if you've had some experience editing videos on your phone and that's what you're comfortable with, then just stick with that at the beginning and just use that to help you get into the routine of creating. I personally find it kind of fiddly to edit on a phone, and I find it a lot more straightforward on a computer, and same for you. If you find things easier on a big screen using a keyboard keyboard and mouse, then by all means start with some editing software on a computer. And there are kind of 4 big options when it comes to editing software for your computer, and I'll rank them according to what's easiest to what's the most difficult. So again, think about what your experience level is and which one you might want to start with. So I'd say potentially the easiest to learn is CapCut, and it's also free for Windows and Mac. So no matter what you're using, that's a great place to start if you don't have a lot of experience video editing. Then from there, we have the 2 Mac only options, which is iMovie and Final Cut Pro. So iMovie is kind of like the really simple little sibling of Final Cut Pro. iMovie is a good option because it's free. It's a good place to start if you don't have a lot of experience. It does the basics. And from there, if you want to move it into a really fully featured professional editing software for Mac, then Final Cut Pro is the place to be. That's the editing software that I personally use for all of my videos, and I really love it just because I think it's really intuitive and easy to use, and it's also quite efficient, which again is something that I highly recommend making sure you're focusing on at the start. And then the last 2 pieces of software are kind of the hardest to learn, I'd say equally, and that is Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve has a free version, so that could be a good place to start, but it also probably has the steepest learning curve. Premiere Pro is also relatively difficult to learn, but if you can get the hang of it, it's super feature packed. But again, if you don't have a lot of experience editing videos, make it easier on yourself and start with CapCut or iMovie, and then move up later when you've gotten the hang of it. Now lastly, you'll need to think about storage when it comes to filming your content, and you really need 2 things. The first is obviously an SD card if you are filming on a camera, and then an external hard drive for your computer to store all of your video footage. So with the SD card, the thing to think about is that they come in different speeds. I'd say if you can get one that does speeds of 200 megabits per second or faster, then you're set, because this means that you can record in resolutions up to like 4K, and it will also transfer your files a lot quicker. And then when it comes to external storage for all your video files, again, faster is better, and that's going to make your workflow a lot easier. If you get a cheaper but slower hard disk drive, then chances are your video projects will lag a bit. It'll take a while to transfer your files, and it just adds friction to your workflow, which is what we're trying to avoid. So I'd recommend getting a solid state drive or SSD, because these always are much faster than the older hard disk drives. If you can get one with 1 terabyte of storage, then that should be more than enough to get started. Just focus on what gear is going to save you the most time and going to be easy for you to actually get into the habit and routine of creating videos. I also made a video about how I edit all of my YouTube videos, so if you're interested in that, check that out here. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.